the thing is, you need to do a quick sort through those buttons and see if you have anything that looks even close to or similar to these buttons. Also, you know, if you have buttons that are made of, let's say, lucite, the lucite buttons need to be special. If they're just plain, they're not going to mean anything to anyone, and you're going to waste your time, especially if you're trying to sell them. You're going to be very disappointed, and don't question why people are not buying your buttons. They're not buying them because if they're collectors, they know exactly what they're looking for, and you just don't have it, and that's just the way it is. Sometimes it's better to take those buttons and either create something out of it that will be a family keepsake, or to sell them in a big bundle. Or if you have tons and tons and tons of them, maybe you could break them up into piles of like 5 pounds or more. I would say 5 to 8 pounds each. And, you know, start your listing at, let's say, $14.99, $19.99 plus, you know, like $8.95 for shipping and handling, because all of them will fit into a plastic bag and into a priority mail envelope, and, you know, sell them that way. You know, the other thing is you want to look for porcelain buttons. I was sure that at this particular shop the lady would have some, but she didn't. Porcelain buttons that have like figures on them. The ones with flowers, they're fine. They're incredibly, like, honestly, there's a lot of them out there. But if you find some that have scenery or have figures, those are the ones that people want, or something really unusual or salacious. You know, people always like the dirty. That's what they're looking for. Also, if you find glass buttons, she had glass buttons and she really wanted me to buy a bunch of them, but they were incredibly plain. If I bought glass buttons, you know, they would have to be something special because I have hundreds, thousands of them. So, you know, that's another thing. In shell buttons, she had those shell and pearl buttons. She had a lot of those, and she did have like 2 colors that were kind of unusual, but the buttons were just so poorly made, it wasn't worth me buying them. Honestly, it was barely worth me looking at them. So that's the other thing, is make sure the buttons are, you know, made, their quality, especially if you're trying to sell them. And for pearl and shell buttons, once again, you're looking for highly unusual colors, very detailed, you know, designs, something that someone, you know, isn't going to be able to just go out there and find somewhere else necessarily. What other thing? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about Bakelite for a moment. You know, you can test Bakelite not just by putting it in hot water, because a lot of other buttons, especially some of the modern ones, smell like chemicals. So that is no longer a really good test for that. You know, can do your research and find out how you could test them, or you can look at my description down below and I'll give you a clue by telling you exactly what you can use to test them. And what people are looking for nowadays in Bakelite, because there's so much of it out there, and it's not just like Bakelite buttons, but there's like, you know, jewelry and you know, handles to pocketbooks or purses, etc., buckles, whatever. They're looking for the unusual. So if you have purple, for example, very hard to find a good, real looking purple. You know, then that's awesome. But, you know, if you have some of the common colors and they're in a common shape, then, you know, you're going to kind of be disappointed again, unless you look at them as a family heirloom that you're going to create something out of, or, like I said, add them to, you know, piles of buttons that you're trying to sell. And, you know, do a $14.99, $19.99 auction listing, or a buy it now plus that $8.95 for the shipping and handling, because if you do that, then you'll probably make like a couple bucks on the shipping and handling as well. then, you know, you will be disappointed. So if you just have round buttons, you know, those, everyone has round buttons, and there are billions, trillions of them out there in the atmosphere. So, you know, do your research, know what you have, look for the unique and the unusual. Once again, another tip is unusual shapes, unusual sizes, you know, except for the button has to be usable. Today, when I went to one of the shops, the lady had some like lucite buttons that were probably the size of a small saucer. Those buttons are huge. You know, they almost just look like toys. And they were also like, even though they were lucite, they were just poorly made. That was the other thing. And I was saying to myself, that's why they sat around, and I'm telling you, the boxes were literally dusty. And these, you know, dusty boxes for so many decades. You know, they, you know, maybe at one point when people were doing like the gay fad type of style with the big polka dots and graphics, those buttons definitely could have found a home. But nowadays, you know, people are probably just not going to buy those buttons. Plus the colors were not special. Like if she had purple, or fuchsia, or some, you know, other jazzy far out like alien green, I probably would have purchased maybe one or two of them. But I passed because, like I said, once again, the colors were not anything that was special. They were white, they were red, they were yellow, there was black, there was brown. I mean, just once again, very common colors that people are really not looking for, and probably will never really look for. I'm trying to see, is there anything else I can add to that? You know, some of the fabric buttons, but the fabric buttons have to be really special. It is hard to find a fabric button that you could sell as a one-off or in a set of 3 or 4, unless they're on the card, and the graphic on the card is where the value is, as long as all of the buttons are also on the card with it. So, you know, just some tips and tricks to what to look for in trying to find valuable buttons, but also some tips and tricks as to what does not really have value and how to sell that stuff in bulk to move it out of your house if you need to, because there are a lot of crafters out there that will take those buttons and turn them into something special. So thank you so much for tuning in, and down in the comments below, please leave a comment, and also make sure you are a subscriber, and also give this video a thumbs up. Why? Because your name will be entered into a drawing to win some of the buttons that you see on the table here today. Yes, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I told the lady at the shop that I would be like passing some of these on to the viewers of my button videos on YouTube, and she was ecstatic. She was so happy to hear that. So if you want to win any of these, you know, that's all you have to do is leave a comment, give a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe. Sharing the video would also maybe get you some extra entries. And I really hope that we get enough traction on this, because in order for me to give any of these away, since I, you know, paid for them, and these are not just giveaway, throwaway type of buttons, and you can actually take these yourself and sell them if you wanted to, you know, I need to have at least 50 participants. So if we get 50 participants, then guess what? You guys are getting some stuff in the mail. And just to let you know, you will not have to pay postage. I will just reach out to you, and hopefully you have an email address or something, or, you know, I'll leave a comment just telling you to contact me so that I can, you know, get your address so that I can send you your packet. So thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and remember that your health is your wealth, and if you don't take care of yourself, no one else can do that for you.